So we've come to Idstein. Idstein, we've parked on the edge of Old Town. And we're going to do a few GI Blues filming locations here, or Café Europa as it was released in Germany. Elvis wasn't used in any of these location shots here in Idstein or any of the other location shots of GI Blues. He met with Hal Wallace on 17th of August 59, where Hal Wallace outlined the project to him, and then the studios spent this next few days or a couple of weeks filming some location shots with a private first class Creel as Elvis is standing. But I wasn't going to do any of the location shooting really, because basically Elvis wasn't there, but I thought, hey, we're here, might as well. So this fountain here featured a couple of times in the location shooting for GI Blues, because through that archway there was supposedly the apartment of Marla, who was Rick's girlfriend. Elvis's character tells us buddy Rick, and Marla had a baby with Rick, unknown to Rick. Anyway, when Rick found out, he asked Elvis to come and babysit while him and Marla went to get married somewhere. And this fountain featured in a couple of the shots. So here's one of the shots where the camera's looking back down the street, down in that direction there. So actually it was more, the angle of it was more over this side. There we are. That was more the angle. There. Another shot then would be where Elvis is standing. He's not actually standing here, of course, but he's standing in front of the back projection then. Oh, where is it? Back projection with the fountain behind him there, as he's looking for the address for Marla's apartment as he's coming to babysit. And then finally there's another scene where Tulsa is walking towards the arch in front of the apartment, obviously Elvis's double. Yeah, it's been painted since. But there's the character Tulsa McLean walking across. Again, camera angle is more over here. As the characters walk in towards the archway there. Okay, we'll go to Papa Muehler's Ratskeller next, or the scene at the site of it. And yeah, up ahead this restaurant and hotel here. Was it Tornershof? Torner Shop. That was Papa Muehler's Ratskeller restaurant in the exterior shots in the film GI Blues. Can't see if that's going to focus. I'll put the picture in if it doesn't, but Tulsa, Cookie and Rick going to Papa Muehler's Ratskeller. And then it shifts to Elvis singing doing the best I can, and of course the title song GI Blues, where obviously the interiors are the Paramount film studios. No interior shots were actually filmed here. A couple more shots were filmed in this courtyard. There's another fountain there, very similar to the one we've just been to. And again, you see the three characters walking across the courtyard on their way to the Ratskeller. I really can't see how these pictures are looking on here, if they're in focus or whether it's just picking me up. The sun is very bright. Again, I'll put the I'll put the picture in if needs be. And the last one then would be through the tunnel, so let's just line that one up. Quite apart from it being the GI Blues location, this is this Idstein Altstadt. Old Town is very pretty, it's very picturesque, isn't it? Again, it's just that very sort of stereotypical German type architecture. So there's the other shot of the characters walking through the tunnel, and that's the Ratskeller beyond them. So that was taken as they were walking through here. And of course it ended, as so many of Elvis's films, it ended in Elvis having a fight when Blue Suede Shoes by an Elvis Presley came on the jukebox. And Elvis had a fight with the guy who put it on, the same guy from Lovin' You that he had a fight with, that ended up with him slumped over a jukebox. Okay, so there are the filming locations of Idstein. Let's go and do some more elsewhere. So this is the outskirts of Frankfurt, and this was used as a filming location in GI Blues. This side of the road here, you can see these old buildings. They used to form part of Drake Caserne, or Drake Barracks, which was on this side of the road, US base, and on the opposite side of the road was Edwards Barracks. And in the film you can see the projection of Elvis's character Tulsa McLean along with Cookie and Rick standing at the gates waiting before Lily comes along and picks Tulsa up to go on the day trip, going in the cable car and down the Rhine, etc. And Rick and Cookie go and catch a bus that pulls up outside. So like I said, Elvis wasn't at any of the locations of German locations for GI Blues. They were all back projections, but the long shots where his stand-in Private Creel, Private First Class Creel, was used. This was one of the locations, somewhere over there. I don't know exactly where the entrance to Edwards Barracks would have been, but the stuff I found online says that the two barracks were opposite each other on this road. On this one, just make out this entrance here, it's quite similar to how Drake Barracks, there's an old black and white picture of both entrances actually, but that lines up with the Drake Barracks entrance there. So Edwards would have been opposite. Whether the entrance was exactly opposite there, I'm not sure. Yeah, so this was one of the filming locations for GI Blues up in the north end of Frankfurt. Mind you, it was an army base. There are two army barracks, so that's not to say Elvis may have come here from his Ray Barracks in Friedberg just as part of his military duties, but there's nothing documented that I could find to say that. But he definitely wasn't here for the GI Blues filming. This is Wiesbaden in front of the train station, and in the film Elvis's troop is in the station initially, standing on the platform as a train comes in from Frankfurt full of troops who have been stationed there, and they include Jeremy Slate. The actor Jeremy Slate, I can't remember his character name in the film, but Jeremy Slate was in Girls, the main protagonist in that film. But anyway, he was unable to spend the night with the dancer Lily in Frankfurt, and with the result that a bet was laid that Elvis's character Tulsa McLean, his troop's main Romeo, called Dynamite, would be successful in spending a night with Lily, and the bets were laid on the platform in there. Following this, the troop came out here and ordered up on the green here in front of the station, and that's when the commander gave the bad news that Dynamite had complaints from Fräulein's fathers, and he was being shipped to Alaska instead of going with the rest of the troop to Frankfurt station, and that resulted in Elvis then becoming the subject of the bet to spend the night with Lily, the dancer. So that was in front of the station here. Just get that picture up. There's the picture. I don't know if quite can make it out with the glare, but the picture was the scene was shot here on the green across the road from Wiesbaden station there. There's a couple more angles used in the film. The troops pull round the lorries to this side. You can see them pulling up there outside the entrance. That's around the side of the train station there. And then there's another shot just a bit over this way. Just want to show this angle briefly. There's trees there now, and this is all pedestrianised. The lorries come round the corner there as they go into the drop-off point, and it's right here, this part of the building. So the trees there now, and it's all pedestrianised, but that's where the scene was shot. In the film you can see Elvis's troop waiting for the train to come in from Frankfurt, where the character that Jeremy Slate plays, I can't remember the character's name. Coming in from Frankfurt, he was unable to spend the night with Lily, and he passed the bet on to Dynamite, and so they all were laying bets here alongside the platform. So you can see the three arched windows at the end there under the bigger arch and the glass ceiling here, so it matches up with. Wait for it to focus. If it's going to focus, that's where that scene was shot, was on the platform here at Wiesbaden. We're in Rüdesheim on the Rhine. So here's another scene location shot for GI Blues. On the Seilbahn here, where as character Tulsa McLean squeezes himself next to Lily there. That would have been tight. That's a tight fit, isn't it? I don't think I'll try and get over it. But yes, and Lily they swap seats. So there's a shot before they swap seats back and forth, but they end up together, and Elvis sings "Pocketful of Rainbows" with Lily, Juliette Prowse's character Lily adding a few frills at the repeated lines. But yeah, so it was on the Seilbahn here that was well, the location was, of course, Elvis and Juliette Prowse were in the Paramount Studios. They weren't actually on one of these cable cars. We'll keep an eye out. The cable car that the characters Tulsa and Lily were in was number 76. So
oh, I don't know. 26 it says.
Yes, it'll be. Oh, they're not going in.
No, 60's on its way down.
Yeah, because it's 99 behind us and 29 behind that. So yeah, so it's not necessarily in.
Number 26 in 26. Yep. 76.
And here comes empty cable car that characters are in. 76. Of course, the 76 car that Elvis and Julia Prowse was in Hollywood. not that actual 76. This is Eltville, little town called Eltville. Yes, on the riverfront here at Eltville, and lost our bearings a bit, couldn't get to the river, but there is, and that's the building I wanted to reference there, because in the movie GI Blues, Tulsa and Lily get off their river cruise here, and then go on the cable car. So of course the cable car is in Rüdesheim, so obviously in actuality they wouldn't have got off here to get on the cable car, because they parked their car further up river up there, and the cable car is downriver that way. There's the scene from the film where they've just got off the cruise off the river Rhine, and the backdrop there is this building here in Eltville. You see the arches with the little stone at the top of the arch. That's where this particular backdrop location shot was filmed. And there is a little ferry stop there that they get off the Rhine cruises, set back a bit further than the backdrop of the movie, because they seem to get off right next to the building there. This building looks, as it was back then, to be a cafe of sorts. Back then though, where this little cart truck thing is, that's where the tables were set up rather than up on the raised stone there. But it's still a cafe as it was back in 1959 when the backdrop shots were filmed. Yeah, it's quite an attractive building in its own right. Only a little one, but still. And there's another longer shot of the building there. Okay, so we're going to move a bit further east on the river now to show where the location shots for Elvis and Lily arriving to park the car, the white BMW. I think it's a BMW anyway, could be wrong. But where they park the car to get on board the River Rhine cruise, which is further east. We're in Wiesbaden-Biebrich. We're going to our last GI Blues location today. Not the very last one, but got one more in Frankfurt. But the last one for today. And that's just again down on the riverfront. Yes, it's going to be a bit noisy with traffic, but this is Wiesbaden-Biebrich, and this is the last location for today. This is where Tulsa and Lily in their little white BMW come to begin their Rhine boat trip. The car comes in from that direction there. You can see that building is still there. And then it pulls into the car park across the road here. Now it's all pedestrianised, and they've got a cafe and a couple of coffee huts and what have you. But it was a car park back then. And they pull up just opposite this junction here, so it would have been just across the road there where the car pulled up, just opposite this junction here. So this is where that scene was filmed. Lily and Tulsa then get on the Rhine riverboat just on the river's edge there. Okay, that's the last one for today. That's the last location shot today. So I said just finish off in Frankfurt tomorrow. So in Frankfurt for the last location shot, so GI Blues, Frankfurt station. And this is where the train coming in was shot. As you can see on that shot there, there's this end platform here with a bigger arch next to it. So just do a couple of shots outside. Oh, this Frankfurt station. Unfortunately, they're doing a lot of work as it happens when we come today now, so it's the frontage is blocked off a bit, but you can see the main bit of the station, and now you can see the troop train, the lorries where the troops have got on to head off to the barracks in front of the train station there. Yeah, in the fine shot I can't quite do the close-up that the close-up location shot from the film, but it's basically through all that noise there, through the bus stops, through all the works. You can see that in the centre of the picture there, that dome next to the archway there. That's that dome there. So you'll have to imagine what it looks like through all that noise over there. So there we are, that's the end of my GI Blues filming locations. Hope you found it interesting.